Last April, a strange little story flickered across the news cycle and then vanished. No follow-ups, no analysis, no palace clarifications, just gone. And yet, it might be one of the most revealing decisions Prince William has made in years. Because quietly, deliberately, William chose to break tradition. He didn't use his father's law firm. He didn't use his late grandmother's trusted legal circle. Instead, he hired Mishcon de Rea. And if that name rings a bell, it should. That was Princess Diana's divorce law firm. Pause on that. Let it sit. Because decisions like that don't happen by accident. They're statements. This wasn't just about lawyers. It was about separation, symbolic and practical. William, the heir, signalling that he's no longer operating under the same old royal umbrella. No daddy's fixers, no inherited safety nets, his own people, his own shop. And yet no one talked about it again. Almost like it was inconvenient. Almost like someone hoped it would disappear into the fog of royal routine. But then came another hire. And this one raised eyebrows. William has now brought in a crisis management expert named Liza Ravenscroft, a name that sounds less like PR and more like an Agatha Christie suspect, which immediately begs the question, crisis management? For what, exactly? Because let's be honest, none of the things the palace wants you to focus on are actual crises. Not Harry seeking police protection, not the Sussexes living their California lives, not Prince Andrew's past continuing to haunt him. Not even Charles's or Kate's health updates. Those are ongoing issues, yes, but they're not sudden emergencies requiring a high-level crisis professional. So what changed? Buried in the reporting was one quiet but crucial line. Julian Payne has stayed close to the king, so it is unlikely to be a coincidence that one of his most senior and respected members of staff has taken a key role in William's office after a period of turmoil. That doesn't sound like William panicking. That sounds like Charles intervening. It sounds like a king who's been through chemotherapy, public scrutiny and relentless duty, looking at his heir's operation and deciding, enough. Because let's be real, Kensington Palace communications have been chaotic, defensive and at times downright amateurish. The Kate Missington saga, the Mother's Day photo disaster, weeks of silence followed by clumsy messaging. Any serious institution would have cleaned house. They didn't. They limped on. And then there's the elephant in the room, the marriage. There's a video circulating, unverified timing, yes, but if recent, it paints a picture of parallel lives, separate movements, possible co-parenting logistics, and suddenly the crisis hire makes more sense. This doesn't feel reactive, it feels preemptive. A comfortable separation home for Kate, London and Kensington Palace for William, carefully managed optics, controlled messaging. Because when personal news is likely to become public and potentially damaging, you don't hire a crisis manager after. You hire one before. And no, this isn't about Andrew. It isn't about Harry. It isn't about tabloid noise. This is about William himself, even if he doesn't realise that's the crisis. Notice how quickly certain outlets linked this hire to Harry and Andrew. That wasn't accidental. That was deflection, because it's easier to point outward than inward. But here's the truth. Professionals with Liza Ravenscroft's resume don't leave well-paying, serious roles to write fluffy press releases. She wasn't hired for routine comms. She was hired for something specific, something sensitive, something imminent, or at least anticipated. And that's where the theory that this was ordered rather than chosen starts to track. A king ensuring his heir doesn't embarrass the institution any further. William's image is in rough shape. Outside the loyal press bubble, he's increasingly seen as angry, reactive, and entitled. The branding exercises haven't worked. Environmentalist William didn't stick. Global diplomat fizzled. Family man rang hollow. Even the beard couldn't save him. Now it's future king with big plans, and frankly, that scares people more than it inspires them. You can't PR your way out of a personality problem, and this one has been decades in the making. So maybe this hire is about control. Maybe it's about damage limitation. Maybe it's about preparing the ground for news we haven't heard yet. Or maybe it's simply a king saying, "Get your house in order." Time will tell if this crisis manager lasts. Kensington Palace isn't known for retaining competent professionals. But one thing is clear. You don't hire a firefighter unless you smell smoke. And no matter how loudly the palace points elsewhere, the smoke is coming from inside the house. Well, squaddies, my absolute take in a nutshell is that I believe this is less about William getting Kensington Palace or his work in order, and more about a personal crisis that is looming. Nobody cares about Andrew anymore, and Prince Harry is more of a convenient distraction from the Wales mess. I mean, the time to hire a crisis manager would have been during the Missington months and kill photo. Why hire this woman now when the Kensington Palace talking points are that William and Kate have a strong marriage, their work is impactful, and they're supposedly more popular than ever? This is about William not realizing he's the crisis, so he was persuaded to bring in this person to help with that aspect of things, except not in those words, obviously. No way do I believe this person with this resume left what I'm assuming was a well-paying job to send out press releases about William and Kate's work. She was hired for a specific reason. Period.